Pipeline Studio is about understanding your workflow and knowing when it's running smoothly. Once an idea has been captured and once it's stayed where you put it, there's a temptation to do something immediately, to act, to execute, to turn it into a task. That's usually where things go wrong because processing is not action. And it's not output. Processing is the first intentional interaction with an idea after it's been allowed to rest, not to reassure yourself that it exists, not to organize it further, but to understand what it actually is. Most people skip this step. They capture an idea and immediately ask, what do I do with this? That question is premature. Processing begins with a different one. What kind of idea is this? Not every idea wants to become a project. Not every thought needs to be expanded. Some ideas are signals, some are fragments, some are reminders, some are dead ends, and some are simply thoughts that needed somewhere to land. When everything is treated as actionable, pressure enters the system too early. Ideas get forced forward before they've taken shape. That's how thinking turns into stress. Processing is about removing urgency, not adding it. It's the moment you allow yourself to look at an idea without committing to a result. You're not deciding what to do, you're deciding what the idea is. This is why processing feels uncomfortable for many people. It asks you to stay with uncertainty a little longer, to resist turning thought into motion before it's ready. But when processing is skipped, everything downstream feels heavy. You feel behind before you've begun. You feel pressure where there should be clarity. That's not because the idea is demanding, it's because it hasn't been understood yet. Processing creates definition. It separates ideas that want attention from ideas that only wanted acknowledgement. It clarifies scope. It reduces noise. It prevents false urgency. And most importantly, it protects thinking from being mistaken for obligation. A processed idea feels lighter, not because it's smaller, but because it's clearer. You know whether it belongs in motion, in storage, or nowhere at all. And once you know that, progress stops feeling forced. This is the moment the pipeline begins to work. Not because you're moving faster, but because you're moving deliberately. Capture lets the mind let go. Containment lets the idea stay put. Processing lets meaning emerge without pressure. Only after that does action make sense. Only after that does execution feel aligned. Until then, doing more is just motion without direction. So if you feel busy but not clear, productive but unsatisfied, moving but not arriving, it's worth asking, am I actually processing ideas? Or am I just reacting to them? Because clarity doesn't come from speed. It comes from understanding what deserves to move and what doesn't. That's processing. And once that's in place, the rest of the pipeline finally has something solid to work with. This is where people confuse clarity with certainty. They think processing means deciding, deciding what it will become, deciding when it will be done, deciding how much effort it deserves. But that kind of decision belongs later. Processing is quieter than that. It's observational. It's noticing whether an idea has weight or whether it simply has volume. Some ideas feel heavy because they matter. Others feel heavy because they're vague. Processing is how you tell the difference. It's where you ask whether an idea has a center or whether it dissolves once you look directly at it. This is also where permission enters the system. Permission to discard without guilt. Permission to defer without anxiety. Permission to let an idea remain incomplete without feeling irresponsible. Without processing, every idea feels equal. Everything competes for attention. Everything feels urgent. Everything asks to be acted on. That's not ambition, that's noise. Processing creates hierarchy without pressure. It allows ideas to separate themselves naturally. Some clarify immediately, some shrink, some expand, some quietly reveal that they're finished already. And when that happens, something important changes. You stop mistaking thought for obligation. You stop treating every captured idea as a promise you've made to yourself. Instead, ideas become inputs, not demands. This is why processing reduces stress, even when nothing has been completed. Because the mind no longer feels surrounded by unfinished business. It knows what matters. It knows what can wait. It knows what can be released. That knowing is what creates momentum later. Not force, not discipline, not pressure, just clarity. Because when an idea is understood, movement stops feeling urgent and starts feeling intentional. This concludes this session. Let what you've heard settle before continuing.